I am at the airport. I'm the first in my family to attend a four-year university. My parents are there. The goodbyes, the hugs, the tears are there. My mother handed me my rosary, La Virgen de Guadalupe, and my father, with tears in his eyes, but not because of the money, he says, "Mi hijo, ten estos $100, a ver qué te ayudan." $100, the only $100 that he had. Mixed with angst and anticipation, I walked towards the airport counter. I set my only bag that I had, my only carry-on bag with all my belongings on the scale, 78 pounds. Damn. 50 they allowed, and a fee they charged. I paid, and after that I was left with $10 in my pocket and my clothes in plastic bags. I wonder what will my dad say. As I got into the plane and realized that all I could think about was the pride in my parents' eyes and anything that I accomplished. Beyond anything, I felt that my dream had started. I was on my way to Georgetown University. But then now, years later, I understand that my journey began way before that. When you were children, did you ever ask innocent questions like, why is the sky blue? Do I really have to shower? Or why doesn't she want to kiss me? I was one of those kids. Doctors try labeling me with ADHD, meaning awesome, daring, humble, and maybe from Dallas? Probably not. But my parents didn't agree with that label either. They rather call me a metiche, which also translates to Mr. Know-It-All. On my 8th birthday, I think I asked my father the most humble question I ever asked him, and one of the most important. I said, "Papi, Apá." He was ignoring me. "Apá, when will I know that I am better than you?" He paused and said, "Mijo, you will know that you are better than me when your child is better than you." It's that type of inspiration that has led me to this journey, a journey that reflects my parents, that is marked by hard work and sacrifice. My parents mean the world to me. Here is my mother, the lady who I argue with for things such as my clothes being wrinkled, not taking my medicine, or about the girls who don't want to kiss me. She's the lady who has worked for over 25 years as a mail house clerk. And although her English still stands in shaky legs, it never stops her from outworking anyone around her. Now, I'm sure you guys heard of Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, but that guy in the goal, he's my hero. He is my father. He is the smartest guy I have ever met. And although he has no formal education, I mean, who else can break down Plato without even reading the Republic? A custodian for over 30 years that has always worked over 2 shifts to keep food on the table and a roof over our head. He was my soccer coach, was my boxing coach, my biggest fan and my worst critic, but he will always be my life coach. Now here I want you to meet my brothers, my best friends. The older brother, Julio, he was the one who had to sacrifice a lot. He had to fail so that I could succeed because everything that we did was new. We were trying to improve as a family. And since he was the oldest, he always sacrificed so much more. Fabian is the one that's after me. And you can always count with him. Even when he says no, it's still a yes. And the youngest one is Eric. He is my pride and joy. I mean, look at that smile. He's definitely what makes this world make sense to me. And just like my brothers and my family, I want to show you my hand. My hand, we're all different, just like my family. Some of us are thicker, pointier, a little bit more stubborn, or a little, if anything, I like to say a little bit better looking than the others. But beyond that, we all need each other. We all need to perform a certain duty or a certain function to meet a goal. And just like my hand, I like to say that what has helped me achieve anything that I set my mind to do is that I learned to embrace what I do, embrace where I come from, and embrace who I am. Growing up in Dallas was full of learning experiences. It was so much fun that most of my friends, a lot of my friends that I grew up with, dropped out of school, joined gangs, became teenage parents. Very fun, isn't it? But beyond that, those of us who did stay in school sometimes had more substitutes than an actual teacher. Sometimes we had no desk, or books were decades old. It wasn't a problem in history class, I'll tell you that. But beyond that, even the heating and cooling system didn't work in the right seasons. Now, we always hear this. And if anything, for the mad wizards, here's a graph for you. A graph that describes the disproportion on degrees in our country. Now, for those who like numbers, let me share that 80% of children living in a household where a high school degree is, not even a high school degree is obtained, live in a low-income community. That Hispanics, African American, and low-income students, when they reach the 4th grade, they're already 2 years behind. And when they reach 12th grade, they're 4 years behind. Now, minorities in the United States make up for 30% of the population. And the reality is that over 60% are those in prison. We always hear these numbers. We hear it in different ways. There is something to be done. Now, if anything, when I talked about embracing who I am and what I do, every time we hear that kids, although we're doing a better job of highlighting rags to riches stories, we have a long way to go. We always not even assume, but understand the fact that kids from low-income families, broken school systems, lack of resources, also have lack of expectations. Georgetown, to many people, took a risk of accepting a kid like me who didn't score high in SAT, who is still learning how to write. Took a chance and saw my potential. Now I asked, if anything, to understand that there's so many kids who have dreams just like we do, but many of them don't get a chance to reach that potential. Within education itself, I was lucky. I am lucky. We're lucky to have received a higher education because that gives us the privilege to dream. But what about everyone else? You see, sometimes we say, well, the problem is at home. The parents should raise their kids better. What about those kids who don't have those parents? Do we have a certain responsibility? Now, beyond that, understanding that even like my own father, my own family, when I was trying to apply to college, said, mijo, only the son and daughters of my bosses go to college. It's not that he didn't know, it's that he didn't understand. He was afraid of the unknown. And if anything, all through school, if anything, it's something that it hits home when I hear, oh, kids are not motivated to learn. Kids don't want to learn. I understand, but that doesn't mean that you don't try. That doesn't mean that your zip code labels what you're going to do or can achieve. And beyond that, to give you an example, my older brother, when I talk about sacrifice, it was past midnight for more than a few weeks when he was trying to apply to college. We didn't own a computer. The school let us borrow one. And we didn't have internet, so we were outside of, I guess you could say, fast food restaurants using their Wi-Fi. I remember all those nights and seeing him frustrated, and also, but if anything, I was trying to learn because no one had guided us, but we wanted something better. If anything, I ask you now that you can do something. You can guide a second grade student, a third grade student in your local community. Now, beyond that, once I'm here at Georgetown, right, I made it. I'm here. A lot of people say, oh, Adan, you should be very proud. You made it out the hood. But no, I want to make sure my hood is some place that people want to come to. And even beyond that, once I was here, all my papers were being shredded by my professors. The books that I was reading, I felt like I read a whole complete different book. I was working 25 to 30 hours of work because I couldn't call home and tell them that I needed help. But it was okay, because if anything, what I learned with my brothers and I learned with my childhood experiences is embracing who I was, continue to help. And what does that mean? Well, lucky for you, or lucky for anyone, I have a cheat sheet that keeps me true to who I am, or allows me to understand that when it gets tough, you keep going. Now, for this cheat sheet itself, I like to call it the Sí Se Puede cheat sheet. The first letter is an S. It says sacrifice luxuries for needs. Sacrifice luxuries for needs. The idea that one must take steps. I remember vividly seeing my mom selling raspas y tortas, my dad going to tire shops to gamble for making $10, $15 just to have food on the table. But beyond that, I saw that whenever you want to accomplish something, you must be patient. You cannot go from A to Z, but you must learn to pace yourself. Independence is a privilege, value it. The independence to be able to speak out, the independence to have a voice is something that a lot of people are able to embrace. But what about everyone else who doesn't have that voice? What are we going to do to allow them to recognize it? S, smile, make someone's day. Accept the good with the bad. What does that mean? This summer I apologize in advance if I name drop, blame Georgetown. But if anything, I was working this summer at the White House, and it was tough. Long hours, crazy hours, no pay, but it was beyond an amazing learning experience. And trading the good with the bad, maybe waking up early was really bad, but then watching the World Cup soccer game with President Obama was pretty cool. And then my parents being able to give out presidential chocolate to our family, that was even cooler. E, exposure, discover new sites. What does that mean? Explore. Find an opportunity to feel uncomfortable. Some of the best friends that I've made here in Georgetown are completely different from me. Friends that believe in loyalty. Friends that believe in duty. Friends that believe in faith. And if anything, that's when my inner Dora comes out. The sense that I want to explore and meet that potential. We're now at P, puede. Pride, passion. Stay true to who you are. That sense of passion, here goes another name. Whenever I gave an elevation speech trying to fix the US education system to Secretary Arne Duncan, he said, Adan, that fire you have, keep it going. And just as no snow color, you will have no barriers. Pride, everyone has something to offer. You, understand you are different, embrace you. Uniqueness, what does that mean? My first government class here in Georgetown was, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm still trying to figure it out, in the sense that the professor asked for anyone that wanted to identify themselves as a Republican and as a Democrat, or somewhere in the middle. I was ashamed that I didn't know the difference between either. And the more I listened to my peers, they were so intelligent, talked about theories, numbers. I felt lost, but the more I paid attention, the more I realized that I understood what they were talking. They were talking about numbers that I was part of. They understood these theories, but I understood faces. And beyond that, I too had value. I too could contribute. And that helped me. Now, E, educate, read. What does that mean? You educate everyone around you. Now, I'll tell you this much. My best friends in the boxing club, all of them can count to 10. They can count to 10, probably. Maybe I forced them. Maybe. But beyond that is a sense that I want to be able to share my culture, because we are different. Not like, in contrast to what politicians say, the idea that we are a melting pot. We're not a melting pot. Put us in a Caesar salad with some tacos if you want. That's fine, because we are all different. We all had different tastes, But remember my hand? We all can come together to make something great. D, dedicate. Practice makes perfect. For me, it means DNA. Anywhere that I go, I make sure that I understand that even though I am different, that I should not shut down myself from wanting to learn. That practice makes perfect, because even though you might think that you're the greatest, maybe there was expression, best thing after a slice of bread. I'm still learning. But beyond that is the idea that when you dedicate and stay true to your roots, no one can tell you nothing, because that's who you are. Those are your stories that no one can prove wrong. E, and lastly, empower. Live to serve for a greater good. What does that mean? Our communities do not need a Superman. We need each other to help discover our own powers. And that's what we need to do. Now, this to me, the Sí Se Puede Network sheet was invented because I reflected and understood what has helped me not just succeed, but survive. And I call it my dream team. Now, I share this because I am missing a couple pictures. I maybe did the slide late at night, college. But beyond that, I want to share a few people that are on my slide. For example, Ms. Karen Hanley from the Financial Aid Office, that tried to make sure that I could take less work shifts so I could study more. Father Kemp, that always kept it real with me, challenging me to always speak out, even if it was against everyone. Ms. Rebecca Thomas, who not only helped me during the college process, but challenged me to think high, think about Georgetown for one way or another. For Rafael Anchia, Antonio Tejerino, Jim Keys, who answer my calls, even if it's just me to rant. And if anything, Ms. Missy Foy, who always provided opportunities for me. John Parker, my high school teacher, that exposed me to a different world, that allowed me to dream and, if anything, invested in my future. And Scott Fleming, the person who picked me up from the airport, who took me in, who made me part of his family. And forever, I am grateful. So as you can tell, it took a team. A team of great people, some of the most amazing people that I've met, and we're all fighters. We all push each other. They accepted me with my flaws and challenged me. If it means waking up at 2 in the morning just to tell me that they didn't like a comment that I made, that made me a better friend. And the coaches who serve without expecting anything in return. So as you can tell, I learned to embrace everything around me and allow it to be part of who I am without losing my identity. Now, it leads me to my Sí Se Puede Network. Beyond anything, I understood that I am receiving a higher education, and I want to share any opportunity that I can with anyone else around me. I'm not sharing a formula to follow, but I do hope to share obstacles to avoid and opportunities to take advantage of. During the Sí Se Puede Network, we believe in 4 components that will build scholars any part of the country: community service, leadership initiatives, academic success, and ambition support. One of the favorite initiatives that I love is our Dallas Trailblazers Fellowship. That same plane ride where I was worried about only having $10, I promised myself that one day I was going to make the journey for someone else a bit easier. And last year, 2 years ago, I collected luggage for 57 students. Last year, we collected luggage sets for 157, and this year, we're going to make sure to collect luggage for 200, because that's what our education is about: being able to learn together, help each other grow. Now, to me, I still believe that labels suck. Before, I was just an underprivileged Mexican-American kid with dreams, and now I'm a Georgetown Hoya with goals. But anything that I've done would have been possible without my team, without my family, if anything, being able to embrace every situation that I face. And today is very special to me because whenever I graduated, my father said, "Mijo, make sure you work hard, because in a few years, I want to visit you at graduation." And because of money reasons, we never had that opportunity for them to come here. And today, I want to ask my father to come on stage. Because of you, I am who I am. Because of your hard work and sacrifice, I'm never going to give up. One day, I'm going to continue to want to change this world because you transform mine. And if anything, I say thank you. The journey is not over, but we will travel it together because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what. Sí se puede. Thank you.
Te quiero mucho, Ángel. Te quiero.